Hey everyone, I'm Rin from Rindar Gaming, and today we're going to go over 5 things to help you tank Shrine of the Storms. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that sub button for more tank tip videos. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the pull path. This is a very linear dungeon with little ability to skip bosses or change up the order. However, there are a few places where you can make pulls to shave those precious seconds. Pull everything to the first room. These adds do very little damage. With the Reaping of Fix coming, it may be more beneficial to pull larger adds. We'll see when that happens. Hug the right side, pulling 1 to 2 packs at a time depending on your group's damage. And as you approach the first boss, pull all of the animated droplets. If you find yourself waiting on the RP for this first boss, pull the 2 mob pack to the other side of the boss's platform, and after that, then pull the boss. Follow the walkways, line of sight taunting Runecarver Sorn to avoid an accidental pull with the 4 adds inside of the room. Hold the Guardian Elemental in the middle of the bridge so your team can line of sight with the pillars, and then move towards the Counsel. The smaller ad packs around can be largely gathered up as they tend to do very little damage. Once the Tide Sage Counsel is down, move directly towards Deep Sea Ritualist 2 on Method Dungeon Tools, and this will open up the run back skip. So if you wipe, this will give you a way to quickly get back to where you need to be. Clear the next DC ritual and work your way into the next room. Hold adds on top of tentacles whenever possible to increase cleave, and skip the bridge and clear both the Abyss Dweller packs on either side before the third boss. Once those 2 packs are down, you're going to want to engage Lord Stormsong. Make sure not to lust this boss, as you're going to want it for the last boss. He can be particularly nasty. Once this boss, however, goes down into the water, make sure to dodge the jellyfish and up to the last platform. You're going to see eel packs all the way around this platform. If one of them gets pulled on the way up, not a big deal. Pull it off to the side, cleave it down, kill it off. They're only a little bit dangerous to the tank as they apply a stacking dot, but it's not the end of the world. Worst case, just kite it out. Kill that last little ad pack there and engage the last boss. We're going to talk a little bit more about how to get through all the bosses later on in the video, so stay tuned for that. Alright, next we're going to talk about the Deep Sea Ritualist. These mobs cast Unending Darkness, and if not interrupted, it can cast faster and faster, inflicting a stacking dot. This can get out of hand very, very quickly and will become deadly. Set up an interrupt rotation between you and your DPS and possibly even the healer to make sure that this cast does not get off or you stack up 4 interrupts on the very, very first cast, right? This is one of the most deadly adds in the dungeon and needs some special attention. For the third tip, as we were going through the pull path, you may have noticed we didn't actually talk about any percentages as we're walking through there. That's because percentage on this dungeon is incredibly negotiable. As you're working your way through the dungeon, if something extra gets pulled or you skip a pack or what have you, really not the end of the world. There's 24% of your total dungeon trash needed in the last couple of rooms with the last boss, right? Between that and Lord Stormsong's room. You really don't have to worry about it because once you get done with the last boss, you just pull eels until you're done. So if you pull 1 pack, finish up, cool. If you need to pull all of them to finish up, no problem. That trash is very, very easy to cleave and really should be kind of considered the ideal way to wrap up your percentage. So don't worry about percentages as you're running through the dungeon. If something gets pulled, something gets missed, totally chill. Just remember you've got a lot to do at the last room. Everything you need is going to be there. All right, for the next tip, skip the bridge. We talked about this a little bit on the pull path, but now I want to talk about it a little more. Some of the most dangerous trash in this dungeon is on this bridge. There's 1 pack that spawns up a couple of tentacles. There's also 2 major paths that walk through there on teaming weeks. They're incredibly nasty. This is a spot that you should definitely skip. Every skip option here is almost viable, okay? Everything from a death run skip to where you run through and have a shaman onk, or use a soul stone, or, you know, you die and as the tank maybe res the healer or something like that. Invis pots, rogue shrouds, it all works. So look at your team, look at your comp, come up with a way to skip it and make it happen. Even if it's invis pots, just get it done. Don't mess with this trash because it will mess you up very, very quickly and takes a lot of time for the percentages that you're going to get out of it. Remember, we want the percentages out of those eels. We don't want the percentages here. They're not worth the time. try and avoid using your pots if possible. You want to kind of use some of that team dynamic, some of those different abilities you have, because you're going to want those DPS pots for the last couple of bosses. And if you use your pot here, it's going to lock it out for 5 minutes, and it's going to be questionable whether or not you have it back up. So talk with your team, figure out a strat, execute, and win. Okay, and for the last tip number 5, we're going to go through boss mechanics. So for the first boss, easy day. Avoid surging rush. You get seconds, like several seconds, to avoid this mechanic. It's a long, he kind of stares where he's going. Just strafe, move out of the way, RP walk. You should not get hit by this mechanic. It's pretty easy day. When people get stuck in the grass from the depths, make sure to break them out. Just go over, do some damage, cool, pop them out, easy day. And avoid the edges of the platform. The boss does do a pushback called undertow at some point, and he will try and push you off of the edges. One of the nastiest parts about this is you're going to be out of a range of a res, so it's actually just a wipe if the tank goes over. The DPS need to be staying away from, everybody just should stay away from the edges and watch out for undertow. If you do get it on you, run against it, pop a movement speed increase. You shouldn't have too much of a problem. Second boss is the Tide Sage Counsel. This boss sucks. So you're going to want to focus down Gale Caller Faye first and keep her out of her swiftness ward at all times. This will make her incredibly dangerous if you leave her stacked up in there. Slicing Blast will put a nasty dot on you, but it can be cleared using the reinforcing ward dropped by Brother Iron Bull. Make sure to sidestep the hindering cleave and don't face it at your group. This is another ability that's going to have a couple of seconds. You're going to be able to see it a couple of seconds beforehand. He's going to like raise his arms up over his head like he's going to smack you. Just simply sidestep it. He's not going to track with you when you move once he starts into that channeled cast. So you're pretty chill there. Towards the end of it, he's going to give himself Blessing of Iron Signs, and this is going to greatly buff him up. You're going to want to use a defensive cooldown or something here to kind of save your butt. Third boss, Lord Stormsong. So the big mechanic with this guy is the Awaken of the Void. It'll spawn a bunch of orbs that will slowly pursue its target. If it catches up, it stuns. Now, you can't DPS these orbs down. The way that they have to be cleared is somebody has to actually go eat them. So one player during the course of the fight is going to get an Ancient Mindbender, and the player will be, quote unquote mind controlled. They can still move their character around. That person is going to want to go around and pop all those different orbs. They're not going to be affected by that stun. They'll take damage from the orbs, but they need to take 50% of their total life to be knocked out of that MC. So they go around, they pop all the orbs, they take what damage they need to pop themselves out of the MC, and you go back to the fight. Pretty simple. It usually doesn't take a lot to get that one down. Make sure to interrupt Void Bolt whenever possible to keep damage as low as possible. All right, last boss. This boss is a 2-phase encounter, and you do not lust the pull. You're going to want to drag the boss to the very edge of a platform, and he's going to spawn a large pool throughout the fight, and you want to keep the middle as clean as possible. So you want to drag him all the way out to the edge, let him drop those pools over there, and give you guys some room to kind of walk around, work the way around. When he uses Grass of the Sunken City, everybody's going to get ported into like a shadow phase, right? You're going to want to taunt the ad, get some thread on it, and then run. Your healers are going to have this huge buff on them, and they're going to actually probably do all the damage you need to kill that ad. Your job is to make sure the ad doesn't turn around and go eat the healer. So grab it, taunt it, and then use whatever slows you got or whatever movement speed increases you have to stay away from it. Let your healer kill that off. Once that is dead, you're going to get ported in with the rest of your DPS into another phase of the Shadow Zone, and you're going to want to help keep those ads interrupted and kill those off. If the interrupt goes off, they full heal, and it's nasty. It takes forever. You don't want to do that. So they should have an interrupt rotation already kind of set up. The 3 of them should have already been down there kind of working this over. There shouldn't be both of them up anyway. Just help out where you can. Catch an interrupt if you need to. Once those ads are dead, you get popped back up. You get to start on the boss again. So once he's interrupted, he becomes active to kill again. Cool. This is where you're going to want to pop Lust because you're going to get the most use out of it. And basically just burn the boss. There's going to be some ads spawning up. Those things need to be cleaved off. They can be slowed, CC'd, all that kind of other good stuff. They need to die. If they make it to the boss, it's kind of a bad day. And as the boss continues to spawn those pools, you just want to slowly move them out around the outside edge of the circle. If you don't kill them within this first lust phase, no problem. You go back down into that grass of the sunken city. If you do it all again, just walk out the fight. You'll be fine. It's a pretty easy day. But that's the end of the video, guys. Thanks for listening. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button. If you have any questions or comments, post them in the comment section below. Ask me on Twitter or on my live stream. Links will all be in the description below. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that sub button, guys. It does help out a lot. But until next time, later, y'all.